All right. Hello, home service pros. Welcome to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast, episode number 136. Today, we've got a special guest on the show, Ben Davis, owner of Express Plumbing, Heating, and Air out of Boise, Idaho. 4.8 star rating with some 1,600 plus reviews on Google. Doing it right out there. Welcome to the show, Ben.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Coming on. Appreciate it. Have you done some podcasts before, or?
Yeah, I started getting pretty big into it, I guess right around 2020
Oh, nice.
and 2021. But yeah, I didn't know what to do with the fame. So I kind of backed off the throttle on that
I
one
see.
because
What made you start doing
people
it?
started. So it was kind of just desperate times, right? I mean,
Promotion.
Yeah, I mean, 2020 was a scary time when we thought that COVID was going to take out the whole world.
Definitely.
So I thought it was a perfect time to get really loud in the industry, so I can get attention. So if there's, we can survive it. Hopefully,
Right.
we can get the information to survive. And Service Titan was putting out a lot of information at that time, so
Nice.
it just seemed smart to jump on board with that and support them. And yeah, became a little too popular though, so I had to back off. I did a Service Titan shop tour in 2020 where they came and videoed my shop for 3 days.
Nice.
And then when that got launched, I had contractors all around the U.S. calling me up to ask me how I did it, and a lot of dreamers out there. And I really didn't know how to answer their questions because I felt like I still had a long ways to go. So I felt like I wasn't in the position to be their mentor, per se.
Nice and humble. Did Service Titan select you for that contractor highlight, or?
Yeah. So when Service Titan or when 2020 hit, I just got loud on the mastermind group for Service Titan. I think I posted a picture of all my technicians standing in front of a brick building with masks on and said that we're still here, we're still fighting.
Nice.
So then I got a call from Tom Howard.
Oh.
And started to be introduced to Vahe and Ara, and then Tom said, well, he's going to fly down to my shop and check out our situation, which he did. And it's kind of the first glimpse at, a real strong entrepreneur showing up to your business and pointing out all the flaws that you have.
Well, Tom's running about 6 of them himself, right? So he's got the skill set.
Yeah, he really does. So then he's like, well, can we shoot a shop tour here? Because he really liked the way my facility was set up. And I agreed to it. And then I tried backing out of it. And then Tom kind of didn't let me back out of it. So he went ahead and shot it. And it was super successful for sure.
Nice. Yeah, because they're good at promoting too. Did you guys take it also and promote it on social or wherever?
Yeah, it was definitely streaming in our area a lot. No, it was more of like fame came too quick. My CSRs were dealing with contractors around the world, from Texas and New York and New Jersey, and calling up $1 million shops or $2 million shops and asking to speak with me. And so it felt overwhelming that people were looking for me when I knew that I was missing so many pieces of the pie too. I didn't have certain things rolling at that point in time either. So who was I to say, this is the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it?
We all get there, right? Well, what do they call that? Imposter syndrome. I feel it myself. Who the hell am I to run a podcast? I'm the world's worst freaking interviewer. I can't believe anybody watches this crap. But but we're trying to pass on good information, man. It'll help business owners. That's the root of it. So I guess it sounds like your CSR team and maybe others were kind of overwhelmed by contractors calling it instead of prospects and customers. So spend a lot of time on non-fruitful things, perhaps.
Yeah, and it probably wasn't as bad as I was making it sound at that time, but I was trying to make it sound like just Titan, please take this thing down, you know. I don't want to be this person. Uh, but yeah, contractors would call up and they would sometimes snap at the CSRs because
Really?
you know, I know that Ben's sitting there, or why is he ignoring my
Wow.
phone calls? And you got to think like $1 million shop or a $2 million shop probably thinks that the owner is always there
Right.
sitting
Because
around.
they are.
Uh, yeah, and that's just not the case. You know, when you're running a bigger shop, you're always doing something. You're always part of meetings and coaching sessions and trainings and role playing. And I mean, there's never a day that you're just doing nothing. You're always booked out on something.
Right.
Because it's just not that easy.
You mean you're not sitting around
It's
waiting for other contractors to call you, Ben?
no, no. Well, back when I was like 3 million, I probably
Right,
was.
sure.
Yeah,
Because you were in the truck.
I miss those days.
Were you back in the field still,
Yeah.
right?
Well, even I haven't been in the truck for probably like 15 years, but um, I remember it's kind of funny how far we can go fresh out of the box, right? So we're working for another company and we start getting a little bit of information, and they don't really have a career path for us. So we decide, well, the next career path, the next decision I can see is to start my own company. I can do what this guy's doing. And you kind of start your own company. You have no clue what you're doing at all. But you have, if you're an entrepreneur, you have like a natural set of
Right.
skills, and you're going to get to a level. I don't know what level it will be. Maybe it's 1 million, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 10 million, but you're going to get to a level just off your natural skills. And those are the best days of your life. Like, you don't know how the bills are getting paid. You don't even really know what a P&L looks like. It's just all working and you're happy, and you're probably a little stressed out, but it's you just have no idea what you're doing right and what you're doing
Yeah.
wrong.
You're
And
just going.
and yeah, you're just going. It's super fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super fun. When you start to get, to 10 million or beyond, now you have to have an organizational
Yeah.
structure, and you have to have a forecasted budget,
Yeah.
and you have to learn, you have your profit and loss has to be itemized the right way, and you have to start learning what percentage are you allowed to have in certain categories on that.
Right. What's getting out of
It's
hand? What's out of budget? Yeah.
right, and it's just a different kind of machine where, before you didn't have to have operations, you just had, your favorite 9 people.
Right. Right.
And now you have to have an operation manual, and people have to read them, and
Right.
and that has to be what sets the presence. That's what sets the standards on what we're trying to achieve here, which could have KPIs baked into it.
Right.
And
Performance.
now you just people have to play a certain part within your organization. They just have to uphold a certain part within your organization. Where when you're at 3 million, that doesn't really matter.
Right.
You can do 3 million off of like 15 people or
Oh, yeah.
less. And it's easy to manage 15 people. But when you're 60, 70, 100 people, it doesn't work that way
No,
anymore.
that takes some skill set, and if you don't have it, you need to hire it. Right, you need to partner with it or hire it. You know, where
Yeah.
did you run up against
Yeah.
the wall, Ben? What said, "Whoa, this is the number. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna have a hard time getting past this number unless I do X, Y, and Z."
I think the wall is every day, because we listen to what the industry is saying, and we see all these guys bragging about how fast they're growing, or how they're overcoming certain, I went from 20 million to 40 million or whatever the case is. And you're only hearing the good stories, and they might not even be true.
Right. Right.
um, so then you're measuring yourself up against that, and you always feel inadequate,
Yeah.
which sucks, for the small guy. Even talking to a $5 million shop, it's like you shouldn't feel inadequate.
Right.
And you shouldn't feel like you need to get to 10 million before everything starts to work out. Start working on it right now and get your numbers right, get your P&L right, get that forecasted budget right, get your capacity planning right. Start your first ever marketing strategy, your year-end marketing calendar. Start putting these pieces in line, because it doesn't matter if you're 3 million, 5 million, or 10 million. Eventually, you're going to need these pieces, and that's the only way that you're going to be able to survive. You're trying to squeak 10% of profit or 15% of profit or EBITDA out of $1 million or $2 million, and you would think that's easy, but realistically, it's not. It's easy if you're doing $200,000 a month and you miss it by 10%. Okay, you lose 20 grand. But if you're doing 2 million and you miss it by 20%,
big hit.
that's $200,000. That's a big difference. So you can't miss it anymore. And you're hoping that you can squeak away with 5, 10, 15, 20% in profit. And it doesn't matter who you are. We all have holes. And as we grow, new holes will appear in our ship, and we'll have to patch them. But I just always see these guys, and they always want to be, the next big thing, and it's like they're passing so many things. Like, they don't know how to get work. And it's like, well, actually, work is the easiest thing to do. Mm-hmm. Not only can you market and brand, and you can come up with a cool idea like a mascot, or, like we have a hot air balloon.
I saw that. I was going to ask you about that. So let's talk about that at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so you can come up with great ways to connect with the community. But you can also outbound, you can voicemail drop, you can text message drop, you can send deals out to customers that might have bypassed on a deal before. Right. I mean, at any given time, you can just go after your current customer base or just the community itself and get more work. I can fill the schedule at any time. Yeah. I don't need my phones to necessarily ring to fill my schedule. The hard part is, all the KPIs and keeping everything in line. What is my conversion rate? What is my close rate? What is my average ticket? How do I increase that? And even if you're looking at marketing as an ROI, you really shouldn't. You should look at it per acquisition, because how much am I paying per lead? ROI is going to be different between one company and another company, depending on how well they operate.
Definitely.
How many options they give the customer, how long they're on the job for before they even give options. Do they have system advisors? What are they doing out there? That's going to create a different kind of ROI.
100%. So many factors. Yeah.
So many factors.
Yeah. Get that, your speed to lead, your cost per lead, your booking rate, your show rate, your close rate, your average ticket. All these things can be worked on. I love how you brought up, you don't need the phone to ring to, you can go back to old customers. You can, a bunch of stuff, which I'm amazed at how many businesses just ignore their past customers, Ben. It blows my mind. Yeah. They sell it, they're gone. They put a sticker on something maybe, and they think they're going to call them back. And, that house changes hands maybe, and now that person's moved somewhere else. They don't have your sticker anymore. Stay in touch, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Reach out. I mean, when you start getting a pretty large customer base, you can get all the customers that were just curious about an air purifier over the last year. And then you can create an email campaign or a text campaign that will inspire them to call. Or maybe there's a deal that you're willing to put out there for the month of blah, 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 that you can represent or put in front of those customers to get your phone to ring. And it works. It works every time.
Yep.
Like, anytime we need to make the phone ring, we can easily make the phone ring and bring in more work. It's how you execute that work, though. And all the other numbers, one of the big things in the industry or the trades right now is pay your people more, pay your people more. Well, what does that even mean? I mean, you still have to stay within a percentage on your profit and loss. Right. So you can't necessarily pay your people more. You need to, if you want to increase their wages, you got to increase their knowledge. You got to increase their training.
I like it.
Is the only way that you can get them to. It's it's just very misleading in the industry.
Yeah.
So when you have a person that doesn't know anything about a profit and loss, or they don't have a forecasted budget,
Right.
they're taking out their company because they're listening to all these industry leaders, but those industry leaders are wrong, are not wrong, but they still know they have to keep something within percentage,
Yeah. I like how
right?
you went
Like,
right to training there, Ben. You know, you need to increase the average ticket. Well, you didn't go there first. You went increase the training first. I think Tom Howard and those guys in Service Titan were onto something when they were signaling you out there, Ben. I think you're pretty modest there. You got a sharp brain. So,
yeah,
so you touched on the balloon, and I saw that on your site, and I saw that Idaho has, or Boise maybe has a balloon festival of some sort. So tell me
yeah.
about that. How did you guys get involved in that? Is somebody a balloon aficionado, or you saw that as a branding opportunity? How did that work out?
Well, um, we're all going to need something. Like, we can't depend on the phones just to ring because we have a good brand. And even if you have somebody rebrand your business and you start stickering a couple vehicles out there, putting wraps on a couple vehicles out there, customers are not going to see those. I mean, it's just going to be hit and miss with customers unless you have a fleet of 50 of them.
Right.
You're not going to get a whole lot off of them. So what are you going to do in the next couple years that is going to make your brand stand out? You know, how are you going to connect with that community? A lot of people are doing, uh, mascots is a really common thing for the
Yeah.
trade right now. So you see people getting mascots so they can um, have their mascots do events or charities, as well as shows. We started sponsoring hot air balloons, I think 5 or 6 years ago, and we could get like 2 free rides at the hot air balloon event, the Spirit of Boise, for our customers. Um, so that was always kind of fun to put a customer in a hot air balloon and watch them go up, or put an employee in a hot air balloon and watch them take off.
Nice.
And they're always smiling, and it just seemed like, wow, everybody that is part of the hot air balloon community and everybody that has one is always happy. And all the kids, like, you see these little kids, 4 or 5, 6, 9 years old, and they're looking up at this hot air balloon and they're smiling, and it's just such a joyful moment for
Yeah.
everybody. So why not continue to invest into it? And by us taking over the sponsorship, um, not that there's anybody that would want to join it, but nobody else can be a plumbing, heating, and cooling company in our area and sponsor that
Nice.
event. We're the only ones. We locked it in.
Sweet.
So we got really deep into the balloon community. We started learning all the pilots, and
Hmm.
started making our name known within it. So then the next big step was just to buy a balloon. Since we knew all the pilots, we could
Hire one.
pretty much take it up when we wanted to. We could take customers up, and we can be a part of what that community does.
That's
Um,
awesome, man.
yeah, it's super awesome. It's we'll take it to like the Boys and Girls Club, and we'll air it up. Um, Sometimes we'll take it up in the air. We'll do like a tethered ride, or sometimes we'll just leave it on the ground just so the kids can walk up to it and see it.
Nice.
Because it's like 250
Yeah,
feet
they're
tall. It's
huge. Yeah,
huge.
I've
Yeah,
ridden it. So your brand is on your logo is up on the balloon, of course, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I saw on your site, I think it was that you were, or maybe it was on Nextdoor. I saw you were giving away or having a sweepstakes for rides, right? So you're doing that throughout the year
Yeah.
also?
Yeah, we give rides out throughout the year. We set it up at events at schools, and they had like a kickball tournament this summer that we set it up at. We were really big during the event. So the Spirit of Boise is like a week-long event, and we'll do tethered rides all that week. So we'll probably give 200 to 300 families a tethered ride in it.
Nice.
And then we have probably about a half a dozen to a dozen real rides that we can give to people as well. Um, And then we have a little mascot, a little balloon mascot
Oh,
that the kids love and hug, and um, it's going to be a war in 2024, especially for market share.
definitely.
So if people don't start getting creative or start figuring out ways to be one with their community, they're going to get left behind, because it's not going to be about how many leads you can buy anymore or how well your website is online. You're going to need to go above and beyond to really bring in that work these coming up years.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's going to go beyond 24, I'm sure. I've been around the world a few times.
Yeah,
The down years last for a few, 3 to 5, and then you got 5 to 10 on that. And we've been going up for like 14 years now or something. It's been the biggest
yeah,
upcycle in my entire life on Earth.
yep,
And I have been expecting it to, go into a recession for a couple, 3 years now. And I think just technology has held us up here, but real estate prices, inflation across the board, it's unaffordable. Everything has to sort of correct. So it's just a natural way of things. No politics, none of that shit. Just normal economic cycles,
yeah.
where it's already slowing down. People are feeling it a little bit. So, yeah, you're right. You got to get out in that community. You got to stay connected with your existing clientele. I love how you took that. You married something in the community that was, and I think this is really important actually, that provoked good feelings in people, right? So the balloon, the
Yeah.
association is a super positive one. And I don't know if you targeted that on purpose or not, or it was a happy accident, but there's a beautiful tie in there. You're getting a great exposure. So what's a tethered ride? Like it just goes up and then hangs there for a bit and then they pull them back down by the ropes or?
Yeah, usually I have some plumbers there or some HVAC guys there to help with it. There will be at least 3 ropes, probably 150, 200 feet long. And yeah, you put a family in it, 3 or 4, and you take them up about 150, 200 feet for a second, and then you bring them back down. Um, so
That's cool. That's
yeah,
really cool, man.
yeah, it's super exciting. Yeah, if you, it, it's going to be great. I mean, there's a lot of hard things that are happening right now. Like the marketing companies have the biggest excuse ever, right? So if you have no leads coming in right now, you're getting told, well, it's happening to everybody,
Right.
that it's just the market, it's turning. And that's where I want to encourage contractors to still hold those people accountable,
Definitely.
and still shop around if you need to, because there's still work out there. And if your competitor is still growing and I still have work, that means there's still work out there. So don't don't just start folding,
Definitely.
like shutting off the lights and spending. They're trying to convince you right now to spend more money too, but you shouldn't do that either. I mean, you still got to stay within budget on that
Yeah.
part. You really don't want to go past 10% for your marketing and branding
Right.
budget. If you're going to throw your recruiting budget on top of that and your retention budget, maybe you're at 15%. But when you start taking these numbers way out of line on your profit and loss, you're not going to be able to recover.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and if you're not bringing in the work and they're telling you that you need to spend more money, you might need to shop around to find a different outfit to work with.
Yeah. Good advice. Good advice. Yeah. The service
Yeah.
part of the business is pretty much going to continue as is, maybe a small
Oh
dip.
yeah.
It's the luxury, so-called, the non-necessity things, right? So maybe bathroom remodels, these kinds of things that might, well, not might, they definitely will slow down. So if that's like a core of your business right now, I would definitely advise. I'm sure Ben would join in. Start looking at more of the core services that people are going to need no matter what.
Well, and increase your service capabilities as a whole. I mean, it's it doesn't take much on a day-to-day basis to make a $10 million company or a $20 million company. You know, people think that I need more volume, I need more volume, I need more business, but 30 service calls a day can yield 50,000 plus in sales easy. And you see some of these guys doing 40, 50 service calls a day, and they're only doing $15,000 or $20,000 a day. And your mind's blown
Mm-hmm.
because they're just running through leads. They're not providing spectacular customer service. They're not giving options to their customers. And even if you don't believe in the options, I mean, I'm a high buyer. When somebody comes to my house, I want the best of the best of the
Right.
best. When I go buy a vehicle, I like to purchase the best things out there. I mean, so who are you to prejudge me on whether or not I want an evolution system or the bottom of the line? You should still give me those options, and you don't know what I'm going to pick. Just because you might not pick something doesn't mean that I won't pick something. And that's really what the service industry is running into constantly. Is it's one option, the technician is
Mm-hmm.
coming up with the solution for the
Mm-hmm.
customer, and the customer just feels like they have no choice. They just, oh yeah, go ahead and fix it with that lower grade garbage disposal that you have on your truck.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give me the option for the premium garbage disposal that has a little LED light on the side of it. So when I open up my cabinet doors, it lights it up and under there. Don't give me that option. Um, don't give me the hands-free faucet. I don't want
Right.
to, who needs
Right.
that? Hands-free kitchen faucet. Uh, and I hate that. So what I want to teach my guys all the time is go in there and present those options. And you're going to be really surprised. I think it's right now we're sitting at 45% of people pick the middle option right now.
Right.
And Joe Caceres already got his own statistics on this, but I mean, I'm just talking about my numbers, my KPIs that I can
Right.
run. So 45% of the time, somebody's picking that middle, and 15% of the time, somebody's picking the top. And if I never provided that, then I would never have those things ever
Right.
sold. My plumbers are making five, $20,000, $25,000 tickets all day long off of service calls because they're providing that customer with options and that level of customer service that customer is like, heck
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to replace all my faucets. I mean, are you kidding me?
Nice.
I didn't even know that was an option.
Mm.
Versus just, oh, I prejudge the customer. They have no money. I'm going to offer them this $30 faucet and call it a day. I just can't stand those. So I think those smaller companies, they might be looking for more leads because they think, it's normal for my technician to run through 4 to 7 leads a day. But I would say, back off of that and try to go back to what everybody else, every professional is out there is trying to tell you right now is 2 to 3 jobs is plenty
Mm-hmm.
for any service provider. And make sure they take their time, they build that connection with the customer, and they provide those options.
Yeah.
Just get more out of what you're doing and provide a better service. Like we never get a 1-star off of a $15,000 project. We only get a 1-star when it's a $200 project.
Exactly.
And I told my technicians, if the customer remembers your name, they're not going to 1-star you. Like
Right.
you made a connection with them. They know your name. They're not going to 1-star
Right.
you. But if they don't know your name, they never made a connection with you, they are going to burn you online.
Yes. Yeah. It is amazing how that
It,
personal connection, those little things in the beginning, when you're first getting there, how big a difference they make.
huge,
Yeah.
huge. It's so important.
So
I
Ben, how are
mean,
you doing the good, better, best, right? Or maybe good, better, better, best, however you do it, your 3 options. So Service
yeah.
Titan, Profit Rhino, how are you doing? How are you presenting that for the guys out there who don't have the tools right now, maybe?
Well, I am 100% firm believer that Service Titan is number one. I know there's a lot of haters and there's a lot of um, negative around it, which I just think is just really silly. I mean, when you look at Service Titans like Google reviews, you see that it's just like so many people are trying to stack so many 1 stars against Service Titan, and you can't really tell if it's competitors or just
right.
people that have $1 million shop or $2 million shop, and then they never put the effort into the software, because the bottom line to build this software, I think my team had 500 hours into it the first two
Yeah,
months, and then we have like Service Titan gurus in the office now, and they're certified
nice. Exactly.
because the more you know about Service Titan and the more pieces that you're able to use, the better it's going to treat your company.
Yeah.
And I can get those reports on a day-to-day basis of what my KPIs look like or what certain areas. I can make custom dashboards out of Service Titan to tell me how my technicians are
Right.
doing, or how certain teams are doing, or what their average ticket are, or what their TGLs are. So then I just have all this information coming to me constantly, coming to my team, and it just allows me to make those decisions even quicker, and it just makes a really strong company. So I believe Service Titan is your number one you have to have. Um, I'm really good friends with Joe Casera. I think starting something up like Service MVP is a really good thing to do as well. Just so you can get the basics of your options going.
I'm not familiar.
But
I'll
it's up
check it
to
out.
you to build it
Service
and
MVP.
reinforce it. Yeah,
I'll check it out.
yeah, yeah. It's really good. In the long run, though, for anybody, it's going to be, what do you believe in? What have you created internally? And then how do you support that internally?
Mm,
Um, so it's what does your sales process look like, or what does your standard service call look like? And then how do you coach that, mentor that, and encourage that within your own throughout your own people? And that's just super, super important.
yeah.
You got to have a way. Uh, you got to have what? Forecasted budget.
Mm,
That's a no-brainer. You got to have capacity planning.
mm,
You got to know when to hire, when to train people, when to introduce them into the culture. Um, you got to have operations is it has to be number one. I
mm.
don't know if I already said that, but
Yeah.
that is way number
Yeah.
one. Who are your players? Do you have a service sales supervisor? Do you have a system advisor? Do you have a junior techs? Do you have senior techs? Do you have install crews?
Mm,
And what can they do? What have they graduated on? What level? What skill levels do they possess? And how do you know that they possess those skill
mm.
levels? Um, we have a full-blown training facility, which a lot of companies have, um, but we use it all the time. And so we have a big building, and we built a house inside of a big building,
Nice.
and it has a front door and everything. And you have to knock on the front door. You have to introduce yourself to the customer.
Oh, sweet. I
Uh,
like it.
yeah, yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
Yeah, training is
This is
everything. Everything.
it is, it
It
is.
starts there. That starts your culture. That starts your customer service. All that good stuff. So going into a recession, we were saying, you got to pay your people more. Do you switch into, or do you currently run performance pay? So yeah, you guys can make more money if you make more money for the business, right?
Yeah, it's I I don't know if I believe in recessions. I know that we're going to have an offset for sure, and I'm really excited about it, because the more that the communities talk about it, the more doubt that's going to be in contractors' heads, and it's just going to really mix up what we have going on out there right now. Um, because a lot of people are going to be scared. A lot of people are going to try to put money towards it, and they might not get the results that they want. Um, you definitely have the bigger players that feel like they're going to take a big piece of the pie right now, or they're hoping to do a lot of acquisitions right
Definitely.
now. Um, to me, the guys they are performance pay, and they get what they put in.
Right.
Um, it it's really about the customer uh, experience.
Mhm.
It's about how well can we take care of the customer, and can we not only live up to that customer's wildest expectations of us, um, but can we also provide you know what they want, that quality, that that tankless water heater or that water purification system or that repipe that they're needing, or, we just need to keep, recession or not, there's still going to be people out there with money.
Definitely.
And there's still going to be people that want to upgrade or have to upgrade their current plumbing or heating cooling system. So I started this company up in 2006, and right out the get go, all I heard was recession, 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 recession. 2007, 8, 9,
Boom.
10.
Yeah, it hit right there.
And
Yep.
yeah, and what the funnest part for me is that I had nothing. So everything that I had from that point forward was a bonus.
Yeah, you didn't care. Bring it on.
Yeah, right now I don't think you could take the work away from Express.
No, you've got the reputation.
I think it's too big in the community.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to slow down. And even if it does, we'll pivot. We'll make cuts where we need to, and we'll continue with training to improve our staff.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to. It won't sway us that much. We have way too many friends in the industry.
Yeah.
There's no way. If my competitor has work, I'll have work.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Well, you'll lose some competitors because unfortunately some shops won't be able to handle the downturn, and that will open up a little more business for all the remaining players in the game. So yeah, it's all about your brand, your culture, your reputation, and your internal marketing, like you said. So you pointed out some great stuff in there. What would you say, Ben, are three key, well, so how, if you don't mind my asking, Ben, you don't have to divulge it. How big a shop are you now? How many techs are you?
Me and Chloe, when we travel around everywhere, we just tell people that we're $1 million shop. And people know that we're bigger than that. But the reason why is because everybody judges everybody's shop off of what size they are. And they almost put their nose up at you.
Right.
If you're like, oh, I'm 5 million, and they're like, ooh, that's all you are, like, I'm better than you because I'm 20 million. And then you got a $20 million guy, and he's like, I'm 20 million. And this $60 million guy goes, oh, that's all you are. And I think it's degrading. I think it's degrading for all of us. I have a lot of friends that have 2 million, 3 million, 7 million, 20 million, 30 million dollar shops. And, I think it sucks. It mentally sucks. The reason why it's so mentally draining is because you think that you're not adequate, and you feel like you have to grow to be adequate, to be something, to mean something. So I would rather just be there and stand up for the small guy and say, listen, it's okay. If you're 7 million, that's amazing. You should give yourself a pat on the back. Right. You're doing a great job. That's a great business. I mean, how many businesses do you know out there that get to 7 million? It doesn't matter, if a $20 million guy is telling you that that's not adequate, or you're not worthwhile listening to because you're 5 million. Right. And that's just bullshit.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
I don't put it out there because
good. I like it, man.
Because it doesn't matter.
I like the answer. That's the best answer I've gotten so far. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Give me three things you can't live without in the business. And let's take you back a little while. So 06 you started, let's throw you around 2009, 2010. You probably just turning a corner on 7 figures or something like that around then. Give me 3 keys to success back then, Ben, that still apply today, but you learned them back then. If I didn't have these 3 things, I probably wouldn't be here today. And that could be Service Titan, probably one of them.
No, I didn't have Service Titan. I was all commercial service.
Oh.
I did all the McDonald's, all the Walmarts. I had 190 property management companies. I had no logos on my vehicles.
So like a white label
I had no
service?
marketing budget.
Did you do service for other plumbers and stuff, or HVAC companies?
No, I just did service for McDonald's would give me a couple $100,000 a year. Walmart gave me a couple $100,000 a year. Property management companies probably give me $1 million a
Yeah.
year. Yeah, it was just a different beast. And I didn't realize how fortunate I was. See, I didn't know anything about gross margin, and I didn't know anything about profit and loss or forecasted budget, and I didn't know anything about the percentages that things needed to be at. So, we used to have like hand truck races, and we had a basketball hoop that we would always, when we had no work, we'd go play basketball. Or I just kind of missed the non-pressure, the not needing to know information.
Right.
Like marketing was zero, so
Right.
I had 10% extra on my profit and loss, right? And labor was probably under 20%, field labor, so I probably had some percentage there that I was gaining on. And I was renting a $1,200 building, so I probably had some percentage in rent that I was doing better than
Right.
most. Most of my vehicles were used, and at that time you could get vans for 5 to 10 grand.
Right.
So
The good old days.
I probably had, yeah. So it was just fun. It was just fun. Um, so I think that's a big key, is to keep it fun. Um, keep that connections with your people. Definitely try to show them the vision, even if your vision is really weird at that time.
Well, that's good. So I remember Tommy likes to say, Tommy Mello, like your dreams got to be big enough to fit their dreams in, right? So you show them the
Yeah,
vision. It's kind of important so they can see, does my vision fit within Ben's vision? Am I going to be able to grow here? So that's cool. I like that part.
I would say nowadays it's the most important parts is a career path for your people. Um, they got to have a career path. If you're a 5-man shop and you're the boss, the owner, the only career path is they're looking at you as like the only career path is I got to go start my own business.
Right, right.
You know, but if you can make
Mm.
apprentices to junior techs to senior techs to service field supervisors, service field supervisors to system advisors to service managers. If you can make a career path, you'll keep them engaged longer
Mm.
because they always have something else that they want to aim for.
Mm.
And part of that career path is, where like a junior tech might be making 40 to 60, senior tech might be making 60 to 80, maybe 90. A service field supervisor is making 100, 150, and then a system advisor is making, maybe $250,000 a year. So there's something constantly to shoot
Right.
for, and you have to have all those pieces if you have a company, because a system advisor is just somebody that is there to, on a customer needs a new furnace or needs a new plumbing system. They're the most knowledgeable about that. They're going to provide the best prices and the best warranties for that customer, and they're going to have good gross margin on everything that they do. When you're a small shop and you have like 10 technicians, they're all equal,
Hmm.
and maybe you have one sells better than the other one or something like that, but there's no career path for anybody,
Right.
and they can't see like, how do I move up? What if I wanted to move up, what are the opportunities for me? um, Second is culture, and I think culture goes right along with career path.
Hmm.
People think that culture is like some mystical thing that we're all like dancing around rainbows and riding on unicorns, but it's
I
not.
like it.
It's not.
I like.
A culture, I think the best cultures out there are just cultures that have clear expectations,
Mhm.
and a clear career path. Like if an employee knows what they're expected to do on a day-to-day basis, they're going to be happy.
Mhm.
They're going to feel fulfilled at the end of the day. It's only when they don't know what to expect on a day-to-day
Mhm.
basis, then they feel lost and they feel unappreciative and unappreciative. And, you know, that's really messed up. So clearing up the fog, clearing up the career path, clearing up the expectations that you have for your people, and rewarding them when they do good, you're going to create one of the most powerful, amazing cultures out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so culture to me is just letting people know what is expected of them,
Mm-hmm.
and then rewarding them for that.
Right. Training,
Yeah.
expectation, performance pay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the path, like you said, the path to go somewhere else, to
It
climb
has
up.
to.
So let's take that guy, Ben.
It
Let's take
has
this
to.
guy, our fictional 10 Chuck guy, and all 10 technicians are the same. Let's say our Chuck is out of the field. He's running the office, maybe 2 or 3 CSRs or something like that. And he's just turning a corner on all this stuff. So how does he turn? He goes, okay, I got 10 guys. They're all kind of equal right now. How do I change that? So we're going to lay out this path of um, different training. What's required to get those, lay out that path for that person?
Fire everybody. So the hardest thing, I've been doing this for 17 years now, and by no means am I a professional at it, but hey, I still pay the bills,
Right.
and I still have jingle in my pocket. But they don't like change.
Right.
Nobody in my organization likes change. And as an entrepreneur, I'm the worst at it because I'm like pretty shiny things everywhere. So I'm constantly changing everybody's path. And, you have to have a pretty good integrator to calm that down,
Yes.
to get people on the right path. Because as an entrepreneur, it's like, no, we're going to try this next. And oh my God, that's so awesome. Let's go over here. And,
Yep. Absolutely.
so, so I don't care. Uh, as an entrepreneur, if it hurts your feelings, or if you don't want to change, or you don't want to pick up this manual and start reading it. Only thing I know as an entrepreneur is I want to live up to what I've been saying the whole time, is that, we're a growing organization. We need to make this better. We're going to constantly be learning. We're going to be constantly training. And I'm never going to stop until we are the McDonald's of the industry, until I feel like this is protected, it's repeatable, and that I have multiple positions to cover everything, because these positions mean a lot to me. So on a 10 truck guy, wow, he's got a hard time ahead of him.
Yeah.
So I would probably, the most common mistake for those guys would be to give somebody the manual and say, read this and do it. Or they give somebody else the manual and they say, hey, I need you to implement this with the team. And implement, I hate that word. It's such a tiny word for something that's so big and takes so much effort. I would suggest for that owner to read the operation manuals. When I wanted to put operations in effect, I sat down with everybody, whether it was a service field supervisor or a system advisor, whoever it was, and I read a page and they read a page, and I read a page and they read a page, and I answered any questions that they had, and anything that I couldn't answer, I would circle back to on our next meeting to answer those questions. And then we would do it again and again and again until those books started to come alive. And Al, with 7 Power Contractor, he always has a good saying that if it's in the book, you're off the hook. So now, instead of the owner having to manage all these people, or somebody that he's hired to manage all these people, now the book is managing these people. And if it's in the book, they're off the hook, which is really cool. If it's not in the book, then we need to discuss it, and we need to correct that behavior.
Right.
We need them to follow the operations to a T, or as close as we can. So we can grow an organization. So there is a career path for everybody, because I want these 10 guys to be able to see a vision, to see where they could head in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. If I have 10 guys and they're all equal, then it's the one that brown noses me the best, or the one that talks to me all the time. And you know what I really hated about that kind of company? was I could hear in the distance all the time, Ben said, Ben said, Ben said, Ben said.
Mm.
And I'm like, holy cow, I'm the operations. This sucks.
Right.
You know, like I don't want to be the operations. So until I sat down and I really started drilling these things in, and I got my upper management dialed in, and then they started dialing in the guys that they needed to
Right.
dial in, and then those guys started dialing in the guys that and everybody's just reading these operation manuals all the way down to from the top to the bottom. And then you start seeing organizational like structure come alive.
Mm.
When it comes alive, everything's easier to operate.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing better than a service field supervisor that has 3 junior techs and 2 senior techs on his team, and he's doing $2.8 million a year for you. And if you can repeat that and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 service field supervisors, and they're all doing, let's say, $2.5 million a year for you, you have $10 million right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that is super easy to manage,
Mm.
And those service field supervisors, they have a service manager that takes care of them. So one service manager takes care of 4 service field supervisors. 4 service field supervisors take care of 20 technicians from junior to senior
Right.
techs. It's beautiful. It's like we're all dancing together
Mm.
now. And then whatever happens over here, now we just have the same thing on installs. So we have install crews, we have an install manager out there, and then it. So now we can just continue to build these pieces. It's not like we're trying to get the company up to 30 technicians that are just technicians.
Right. I like it.
Which is impossible. It's like so impossible to do. I mean, what if you have 30 technicians, right? And your best technician is doing 800,000 and your worst technician is doing 300,000. And that's all you have.
Mm.
Where if you have a system advisor doing 3 million, and then you have a service field supervisor with a team doing 2.5 million, you're seeing numbers that you would have never ever seen before.
Right.
Can a $3 million plumber exist? Yes, a $3 million plumber can exist. Because you have a really strong TGL process through all that, and you have one guy that's really good at gross margin and bidding those bigger projects. Instead of everybody doing it, when it was like 10 guys, you could have a sewer line, right? You go mock it up in the yard, and you have every single one of those guys go bid it, and you'll have anywhere from $1,800 to $18,000. I swear.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you teach everybody how to estimate properly? With when a junior tech only has 6 months of
Right.
experience, and even the senior tech, he's too cheap. You got to have these operations in place.
Great advice.
You got to put,
Great
yeah.
advice. So
It's just
you're creating like a model, a team model, if you will. It's 2 of these guys, 1 of these guys, 1 of these guys, 1 guy overseeing it all. You train that model, and with their feedback. I'm guessing you're getting their feedback also, Ben, when you're going over the ops manual. You're taking the feedback from each position along the way. Hey, how do we make this better, more efficient, whatever
right.
have you? So once you got
Yep.
that model down, now you can just replicate that model, it sounds like.
Yeah, you really can. And even if you get 3 teams, 4 teams, obviously the more the better, because you have teams that are outperforming other
Right.
teams, and which will help other teams want to step up.
Right.
If you have a service field supervisor, because it's a team all the way to the top, and at least our org chart
I like
is,
it.
where it's junior techs, senior techs, service field supervisor, and then system advisor,
Yeah.
and that's one team.
Yeah.
And then you have another team, junior techs, senior techs, service field supervisor, and a system advisor. That's another
Yeah.
team.
You can have a lot of fun there. Team red, team blue, competitions, whatever.
Well, and they love it because so all the additional training that the service field supervisors do or the system advisors do have to be on their own time.
Right.
the reason why it's on their own time is because the better their team does, the better their bonuses are anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason for me to pay them to increase their team's talent
Right.
when in the long run, their team's talent is going to increase their wages anyway. So it's really critical for them to build the talent within their own team, because the better their teams do, the better they're going to do.
Definitely. They're like running their own little mini business within your business.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Except it was better than my business.
It doesn't have all the headaches and overhead. Sure. In fact, it has no overhead.
Yeah.
They're just got a position. They got a check coming in. But I like that. So
Well, and
now
they're
they're
better
they're
at.
incentivized to on their own time to make their team better. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet. How about let's go down the we're almost here. Give me like maybe one or two things that were a stumbling block at first, but then it was like, wow, I needed to go through that pain so I could see this problem or whatever. Anything like that come to mind at all? A problem that turned into an absolute blessing,
They're every day,
right?
right? Every day.
Don't mean to put you on the spot there, Ben.
No, I love every single one of them. The Service Titan video really, put me in the spotlight, and then I didn't like it at first, but over time I saw the benefit from it. And even like a month ago, I was at another event, um, uh, Service Freedom event with Tommy Mello, and
Down in Florida, was that his event or?
yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
his
people should look into that. I think he does it
Service World.
annually or.
Yeah, I think he's going to
Nice.
start.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
And there was people waiting at the end of the escalator to talk to me because they've seen the Service Titan video,
I
and
see.
they wanted to introduce me to their family, and it was almost like I was famous walking around that event. So that at first was like, oh man, I really screwed up. I, put Idaho on the map. I shouldn't have done that. And then over time, it was like, oh, this is actually really, really good, and has brought me a lot of resources, a lot of mentors my direction.
Nice.
There's mentor Al really started investing into us with 7 Power contractors, and I got sick, and I got a hole in my large intestine.
Whoa.
And I died.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I was in the hospital for 3 months, and I lost 100 pounds.
Jeez.
And I just stopped getting on Facebook. I was just staring at the wall all day long, because when you stop eating and you stop getting calories, your just mind goes blank. Yeah. It really does, really quick.
No mojo.
And Al, this sweetheart of a man, was like calling my daughter every day, and he was helping her make decisions for my business. Wow. And he was helping her run my business. And right when I got out and I started getting a little bit better, I really focused back onto operations. And it was just such if life's going good and everything's going your way, and you're eating fat steaks every day, and you're able to buy the top shelf whiskey or whatever your heart's desire, you're able to go on these $20,000 vacations. Sometimes it's really nice to be humbled again.
Definitely.
And to just to check up from the neck up, right? Just to be regrounded again, so you can really see what is important to you and what life is truly about. And me and my wife, in that period of time, we had a lot of discussions about what was going to happen when I passed away, and how we need to keep the business rolling. And but somehow I pulled out of it. So thank goodness.
Knocking on wood here, Ben.
Yeah, still alive.
Glad to hear it,
but
man.
I'm thankful for those things. I really am, because it could be, this life can be so much more bigger and so much more fulfilling. And we can really help out people around us, and be a big part of the community, be a big part of the trades right now. And hopefully, between even our conversation, we inspire somebody.
Right.
we motivate somebody to try something that they never tried before, because being a contractor and thinking that you know all the answers is like the worst scenario you could ever be in. And until somebody comes up to you and says, no, man, there's a better way, a stress-free way
Mm.
that you can predict profitability, and you can build a bigger company but have just less stress as a
Yeah.
whole. And this is what you need to do. Um, yeah, you just hope that you can inspire just that one person to take that 10 technicians that they have right now and create operations.
Exactly. Exactly. The whole reason
you
I do
know,
this podcast, Ben.
jump off that cliff,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, absolutely, man. You already did, right? You jumped off a cliff to start the damn thing. So keep on going,
Right.
take more uncomfortable, what is it? Success or whatever, growth, let's say, is on the other side
Yep.
of uncomfortable, right? So,
We get comfortable. You'll talk to these guys all the time, like 2.5 million. You're like, hey, man, how long have you been in business? You're like 10 years. I'm like, 10
right.
years, 2.5 million? You are super comfortable. Like, yeah, man, I don't work that much anymore. And you're like, holy cow. So, like, to tell you to take on operations would be just silly,
Right.
because, I
They're
mean,
done.
you've already chosen that, 2.5 million with 8 technicians is plenty for
Yeah.
you. And yeah, good luck with that. I'm actually kind of
A
jealous.
little bit. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that you can live in this bliss like that.
Right.
For me, I can't live there, because I see my friends. I talk to my friends all the time, these entrepreneurs that are multimillionaires, and it just makes me more hungry, more passionate to perfect this. Like, it's not about the money. It's about how well can we get this operations really
Mm,
running, because nobody in this industry is doing it at
right.
100%. So there's just nothing but room to grow in any scenario. Um, the only cool thing about the trades is that there's so much money in the trades that you can screw up and still not lose your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, you can. Unfortunately.
You can run a shitty show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, these guys are running terrible
A lot of them.
shows. But they can't fail because there's so much room
Right.
to
Yeah.
fail. Like, there's so much
The
money there
demand.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, you got, 20% that you can eat up on a P&L before you
Yeah.
fail. So they might only be pulling in 2% EBITDA or 1% EBITDA or less,
Hmm.
but they
They're surviving.
ate it all up.
Yep.
They ate up that profit.
Yep. I like it. So, hey, big shout out to Al, man. So, 7 power
Yeah.
contractor, is it, Ben?
Yeah. Yep.
So, wow.
Best
So
operation manuals out there.
that's pretty awesome. So, he came to as a result of the Service Titan video, which you didn't really appreciate initially. Is that correct? As a mentor?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's a good question to see how Al popped in my life. I really don't know. Um, I supported him on Facebook, and he supported me on Facebook, and then we just became friends, as far as I know.
Cool.
Um, he's in the same circles that I'm in, so maybe Tommy was talking good about me, or I know Tom Howard always tells me, "Oh man, I'm happy to still see you alive. You're doing
Right?
amazing."
Yeah.
Um, so I try to keep the good karma going in the industry.
I could feel it,
Try to
Ben.
keep those good
You're doing
connections.
an awesome
Yeah,
job, man. I feel it from the very first minute and all the way through the talk, man. So hats off to
yeah,
you. Something about coming close to dying makes you really appreciate life. And now you get to affect all the people who are in your company, your customers, your community. So when you did bounce back, man, did you have a platform to change a lot of lives? So that's pretty awesome.
yeah. Super lucky,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I feel so blessed on the day. I do feel a sense of urgency
Yeah.
too, because when I did die, I realized that my family wasn't as prepared as I would like them
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
And the business was actually kind of questionable whether it would keep going, or maybe they would have to sell it off, or, you know, um, so getting this second chance has really pushed me in the direction of, hey, let's make sure that operations is up and going, that we have all these positions going, that our culture is strong, and that my daughter understands the P&L really well.
Nice.
And so if something does happen to me, because I was sitting on the deathbed, basically, lost 100 pounds, and
Yeah.
I was opening up the profit and loss and going over it with my daughter,
Mm.
and we were losing $100,000+ a
Mm.
month. And I was trying to explain, to her at that time where those holes were. And it's a lot easier to explain it now,
Sure.
that I'm not about ready to pass away.
Right.
But it was to the point where, man, she's such a young girl, she's such a good operator, but we've never dug into these other areas that we need to dig into so she can understand um, what a healthy forecasted budget looks like and what percentages you really, at least pick your top 5 percentages
Mm.
that you always have to keep in
Mm.
line, whether it's material, labor, marketing, you know, just look at your P&L and what are the top 5 that you have on there that you can start making adjustments today,
Yeah.
so you can protect your company. It's if you want to survive the next 2 years, you're going to have to create a very lean model to survive the next couple of years.
Yeah, 100%. Man, that was for everybody who stuck around to the end here. That was awesome, Ben. And it brings to light, so many operators are out there supporting their family, of course, but also responsible for, the families of the employees that they have.
Yeah.
And it's so we're really kind of duty bound to get our shit together, get those operations together, so our businesses can run without us. Otherwise, we've got everybody at risk. It's not our intention,
Yep.
of course, but that's the reality of most businesses. So, you know, heed the advice and figure out how to get your place running without you, which is all
Yeah.
operations, culture, training, performance, all these things that Ben's been talking about all day. Ben, you're awesome. We went over. I'm very sorry. I'm the world's
Oh, that's okay.
worst interviewer. So, what should I have asked you that I did not? Anything you want to throw out there or promote, or the floor is yours.
Um, no, I think we hit all the key points. I think we gave people a lot of information that they can go back to and put. And I listened to several of your episodes so far, and I think you're doing a wonderful
Oh
job.
man, you're
You're
awesome.
you're
Thank you, sir. You're
you're
awesome.
definitely you're affecting the industry. You're getting really good people on here, and they're talking about really tangible things that that if people just listen and go and start putting in action and behind it, they'll be successful for
That was
sure.
super nice of you, Ben. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
been lucky to get some great guests on, and I've been learning a lot from them. So, we do what we can, but then that was very kind of you. Thank you, man. I
Yeah.
definitely
Thank
feel
you.
like an imposter also, Ben, but I still pop on, figuring I'll work my way through it. Maybe by episode 500, I'll have my shit together. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, you're
It's
awesome,
it's all
man.
good.
Where can people reach you, Ben, if they want to check out your site, communicate with you, whatever have you?
Yeah, expressplumbing idaho.com is our website. You can always send me an email, ben@expressplumbingidaho.com, if you have any questions or if you have um, a little shop that needs some help. You're hitting a wall right now and you need to figure out how to get over that wall. I'm usually pretty good at that. I can't do it for you, but I can give you great advice. If you're looking to hook up with Service Titan or 7 Power Contractor or Service MVP, reach out to me, and I got great contacts within all those. But I'm just here to support the trade, support you. I mean, I'm proud of you. You're an entrepreneur, and that is the coolest thing out there. So I want you to be successful doing it. And if I could be a part of that, or somebody else could be a part of your journey, that's amazing.
Yeah, beautiful. Well said. Way to close out the show, Ben. Appreciate it. Thanks to everybody for
Yep.
making it all the way through, and you got some fruit at the end there. It was worth it for you. All right, everybody, have a great day. Peace.